Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm Jordan Fringe, and as always, it's a holiday tradition here on the channel to not only talk about cartoons, but to have none other than the one and only Scott The Woz. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. I'm happy to be here. It's 2 a.m.
It's 2 a.m. We're just hanging out, gonna talk about some cartoons. We kind of got this little tier list thing here. A very brand new concept, never been done before, never seen, brand new, where we're just going to kind of talk about specifically Nickelodeon based cartoons, kind of pull random ones up, talk about them, could be a live action show as well, and just kind of place them on here loose. There's no in order, it's just how we like it or not, our opinions on it, how much we've watched of it, do we like it, stuff like that. So I'm just going to kind of start things off with a random one here. I'm just going to grab this one. All right, it's ChalkZone.
ChalkZone. I liked ChalkZone. ChalkZone was a fun time. I'm pretty sure it only lasted like a season or two, and it just had a fun vibe to it. Though I do remember, I haven't seen a lot of these shows in like over a decade or two, but when was the last time you saw ChalkZone, Jordan?
The last time I gave it a full-on watch through, I think, was when I made the video on it, so probably like 2 years ago.
All right. Would you say all the episodes were kind of the same? That's what I remember. I don't know why. It just feels like every episode pretty much was the same thing.
Yeah, you know what you're gonna get with ChalkZone. I mean, they go into the chalk zone.
They
get into a chalk-related problem. Rudy, gets himself into some sort of situation. Snap, gets himself into some sort of situation, and Penny's there and tells them, "Hey guys, quit being stupid." And then they sing a song. You can't forget the song.
Lime in the coconut. There's a lime in the coconut song. I remember that one.
Yep.
And that was pretty much it. But I do remember. I liked that show. Do you want me to rank it?
Yeah. Even though I don't ranking.
I can't really give you much except I'm pretty sure the person that voiced Rudy was the same. Was that like Debbie Derryberry? Or was that the voice of Tommy Pickles? Yeah. It's the voice. It's E.G. Daily. That's Tommy damn Pickles. So that I got that one right. I mean, like, what did it do? I don't even think ChalkZone is really represented in any like Nickelodeon media, like any video games crossover stuff. When do you see ChalkZone represented? I don't think it did much.
It's underrepresented.
It is.
I love ChalkZone. I don't think I wouldn't.
Sorry.
I would. No,
I got nothing to say.
No. I don't think I would not put ChalkZone in S. Obviously, I do agree that it's kind of it feels a lot of the same, but there's something about the way it looks, the charm of it. I always enjoyed ChalkZone, and I think we can kind of meet around that B area. Put it in B.
Just all it is, man. Fair. It's a B grade show. It was fine. I liked it fine enough. I think it's one nobody really remembers. But I remember it. Did it get 2 seasons? Feels like a 1-seasoner. Got 4 seasons. Never mind. It ended in 2008.
All right. Here's an interesting one. We'll go to a live action, Scott. How do you do with live action shows?
I always liked live action. I mean, there was the specifics I liked. Not Unfabulous. I didn't really have. I don't remember a single thing about that show. And the only major thing I remember about Unfabulous, I think there was like a weird marathon that Nickelodeon did, where like 4 live action teen Nick shows, all had like Miranda Cosgrove as a guest star. And they aired them back to back to back. And I think Unfabulous was one of those shows. Unfabulous was just always like the bridge between the teen Nick shows that I actually cared about. You know what? Unfabulous I always associate with As Told by Ginger. I don't know why. I just always... it was always like played back to back in my mind.
I'll tell you this memory. It's my Roman Empire, right? It's the one thing that I think about constantly about this show that I feel is like a lost piece of media because I've never been able to find it. I just don't know where to even, like, I've looked everywhere. I've scoured the internet, can't find anything. To be fair, if any DVDs out there, but I couldn't find, this specific thing for it. But there was this at one point. You remember, like, the websites associated. Like, you can go to nick.com, right? And there would be, like, clips or bloopers. There was a blooper that was on nick.com from Unfabulous. And it was her and her mom at the table. And the mom messes up the line and says something, and she says the F word and it bleeps it out, right? I'm pretty sure it was the F word and it bleeps it out. And they left in there but with the bleep, right? Like they just had that on Nick's website. And then I just remember her, Addie saying, that's not PG, or like that's not like that's not safe for like it's or whatever. And it's just gone. I have never been able to find that clip anywhere. It was never preserved. And maybe if someone out there is listening who just has that golden ticket, some reason has this clip, please just prove to me it exists, because it's such an ingrained memory in my brain that I need to know about it. I like Unfabulous. I think it's an okay show. It's pretty... I liked a lot of it, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite, especially out of the live action ones. Definitely wasn't my favorite. I don't know. I'll put that in the C.
I don't have anything against it. I just didn't care. I just didn't watch it, It didn't do anything for me. I don't even think I really even gave it a try. It's just something where it's like, there's sometimes where it's just like, you just, like, no matter how many times a show would be advertised, you just didn't care. But then you see one rerun or something, and then you're like, boom, I'm into it. And that never happened with me with Unfabulous. So I got nothing against it. It's just like the one Nickelodeon show that it's like, whenever it was on, I was like, goodbye. I'm not watching. I'm not watching.
So what you're saying is that it's not fabulous?
No, it was in Fabulous, in fact.
Oh gosh.
Like Infamous.
Oh, yeah, I played that game.
Yeah. I played Second Son. I liked Second Son.
Yeah. I have a Second Son tattoo.
Hey, very nice. Would you say it's your favorite? Would you say it's your favorite in the series if you did get a tattoo of it? Or did it just make for the best tattoo?
I just like it as a pretty picture. I say I want that.
Yeah.
No, I like Second Son a lot. I do feel it's underrated, and I wish there was more of just Infamous in general. But I still think I like 2 the most. But to be fair, I'd have to probably replay it. I think it's a powers thing, the powers that you would have. So I haven't played them in a very long time. It's been a long time since I played any of those games.
Yeah, I mainly just played Second Son, but I loved how it just felt to traverse in that game. It just felt like that was like one of the first games where I just felt like, damn, I'm like a superhero.
That was the PS4 seller. That's what sold me. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. The launch title's cool. Killzone, Shadowfall, or whatever it was called. That's great. I was waiting until February to come around when they're like, boom, new Infamous game, and I'm like, cool. And it looked great, and it played great, and you're like, this is next gen. This is PlayStation 4, baby. And now we just get the same Last of Us games ported over every time.
Yeah.
So,
Which, much like Unfabulous, Nickelodeon just throws Unfabulous to the side and just does more SpongeBob.
Good news for Last of Us. At least we're still getting that multiplayer they've talked about for years, right? Anyway, Drake and Josh.
Drake and Josh, that's like an A.
That's an
A.
I would say. I think it goes between
Drake Bell's a weird ass little creep man, but you know what? The show was awesome.
It doesn't ruin it for me. Like, it doesn't ruin watching the enjoyment I had from the show, but it's like at the same time, it's like, do I want to like talk about it? And
to be fair, it's not just Drake Bell that was like a weird ass little creep man that's involved with that show, but.
Good point.
Yeah,
but that's a lot of Nickelodeon. There's a lot of certain shows that fall under that umbrella.
Yeah. So disregarding that, because I'll just look at the show as a show and how I liked it as a kid. I loved Drake and Josh as a kid, and even like when I rewatched it like a couple years back, I thought it held up very, very well. Like I thought it was just, it didn't really feel like it talked down, or like it was just, it's just a stupid show made for kids. Like it was genuinely very funny.
It's on a SpongeBob level of quotable, I would say.
Yeah.
I say spherical so many times still.
Yeah.
And I put it in so many videos. If you look back to like at least several videos this year, I've made a spherical joke. Just because it's like if you say the word spherical, you have to like, okay, I got to follow it up with spherical.
Yeah.
You know.
And it definitely went with like that vibe of like, you watch it as like a 10-year-old, and it's like that's how you think high school is gonna be like. It's like, I'm gonna have like this giant room that like they had like this one like this crazy room that was like,
that room was cool.
Yeah. And like like high school is like this, and you get to work at the movie theater and like this and that and this, and it's just like, so like it was a really cool thing to watch as a kid. But then like just like, I don't know, it's just a funny show, you know, like it's just I liked it a lot. Yeah, I'd say, you know, that's like an A or an S for me personally. I just don't know. I don't know if it has the gumption to be an S, you know? I'm just going to throw it out there. The movies were weird. I think it's weird when you take a laugh...
They went to Hollywood?
Yeah. But I think it's weird when you take a laugh track sitcom and you make these weird cinematic movies out of it. Like even the Christmas movie they followed it up with. Like it's cool, like especially the Christmas movie, because like the show was over at that point. So it was kind of cool as like a fun little like one final hurrah for the show. But it's just weird. Like I saw that they did like a Sweet Life of Zack and Cody movie, and that did a similar thing. Like a Disney Channel original movie, and it's just like so much about it is like this isn't the same as this show.
Nothing to do. It's so disconnected.
It doesn't feel the
tone
same.
What it's about. Yeah.
I'm just like, why even bother doing a movie, like this cinematic movie based on like a sitcom laugh track show? You know, it's weird. It doesn't really work. But as a kid, I thought it was definitely really cool. Like, oh my God, they go to Hollywood. Oh my God, they celebrate Christmas. But
I do that.
I'm just trying to think like why it wouldn't be an S. You know, like it was just a good old reliable show. You could always get a good laugh out of it, but like I didn't really feel like it was like really like groundbreaking. I don't know. It was just a solid sitcom.
I'll tell you why I didn't get an S.
What's going on?
You know the old thing about like, oh, can we go to McDonald's? Oh no, we have McDonald's at home, right? Drake and Josh, while I love it, is the McDonald's at home when we're talking about Kenan and Kel, everyone.
Damn.
The original Drake and Josh. The definitive same concept, better version. I love Kenan and Kel so much. I think the dynamic of the two is incredible. They're between all that, the first Good Burger, and working on Kenan and Kel, both Kenan and Kel were a powerhouse duo. They have incredible comedic timing with each other. Every episode was just so entertaining because of their performances. And they also did a similar thing to end the series where they had a movie. But it wasn't on like it wasn't as cinematic as the Drake and Josh ones. And there's like multiple versions that like have a laugh track and don't have a laugh track. It's a very weird situation. I covered it a while back, like the weird way that it ended. But it's like a really fun like horror movie that's like really funny and still like on the comedic timing of everything. I love Kenan and Kel. I don't know how much you ever partook.
I watched Good Burger, and I tried the Arby's Good Burger 2 meal.
Me too. Hey, look, I got the sticker for it right here. You can't even see it. Look at that. I don't know why it's still on my
Listen,
face.
I gotta be honest. So, I decided to do like the stupidest thing ever, and I went on Uber Eats. Like in November of this year, 2023, there are two little limited time things. I was like, I need to try this. So like the Good Burger 2 meal, because when are we ever gonna have a Good Burger again? And also the McRib. I've never tried the McRib.
You had your first McRib?
I did, and I'm not really a fast food guy outside of like like Panera.
It's like a tiny step above fast food.
Yeah,
you know?
it's fast. It's food that's fast, and it's not. But it's not like wow, this is gourmet. Just stuff. Like it's fast food that doesn't make me feel like garbage, you know. Because like I can't have McDonald's or anything like that without feeling like, God, this is. I can't do this.
That's my favorite part of McDonald's is like, yo, this is great. And then you eat and you go, why'd I do this?
Yeah, I can't.
I'm going to go again.
I can't have McDonald's anymore, man. They've, like, I don't know. It's just, it's not my thing. And the McRib did solidify that. I was not into it, man. It was a sponge covered in barbecue sauce. That is what it tasted like to me. It was edible.
That's the celebration.
I'll give it like a 5.56 out of 10, but I don't really need to have it ever again. But the Good Burger 2 meal, wow. That was like a 7. I was impressed. I was very impressed.
It was not bad.
Yeah, I was very impressed. I was like, Arby's did this? This is pretty decent. My Kenan and Kel experience is Good Burger.
So not really for the show.
No, and Good Burger is a wacky little movie. It's not my favorite, but I don't dislike it. I didn't grow up with it. I watched it on Netflix a couple years back.
Oh, you just more recently got witness to it.
As like a bad movie night kind of thing too. Like me and the friends were like, we'll watch Good Burger. So we watched Good Burger, and it's like it's fun to kind of like crack jokes about and stuff. So you can watch it as a bad movie, but you can also watch it as just a fun little entertaining flick. You know, turn your brain off and have a good time. You know, so. I will hand the rank off to you for Kenan and Kel, but
have you seen Good Burger 2?
No, I haven't. I saw your review on it though.
Oh,
so I do know that you've had the Arby's meal.
So you already know I was about to pull out that sticker.
I do know, you know.
You already know.
You didn't surprise me a damn second. But I will let you rank Kenan and Kel. I assume it's going to be an S.
Absolutely, it is the same. It's similar to Drake and Josh. You can go back and watch it now. It holds up. It's still hilarious. Everyone in that show is just on point with just entertainment, and I absolutely love it. Let's go back to a cartoon, though. You know, we talked a couple, live action there. Let's go back to a cartoon. How about My Life as a Teenage Robot?
Damn, I really liked this one. This one was a solid one. I've seen a couple episodes of it, like within the past 2 years, and yeah, I think it really kind of felt like it kind of like I always felt like a couple of Nickelodeon shows always kind of felt like they kind of scratched a similar itch. I felt like this kind of scratched a similar itch to like something like Jimmy Neutron in terms of like the sci-fi elements, but with more of like, I mean, like obviously the art style is very like, is it UPA? Or like, maybe not that, but like 1950s style. Yeah. So UPA art style is kind of like old 50s style kind of stuff. Very flat, with like exaggerated shapes and everything. Though this one, I don't know if that super applies to Teenage Robot, but yeah, I really like Teenage Robot. This was another weird one where like it lasted a while apparently, but I think they burned off a lot of episodes on Nicktoons. And I always enjoyed this one when it was on. It had some good action. I mean, you probably know a little more than me in terms of this. Do you remember it being like a super funny show? I remember it being tolerable in terms of funny. Like the funny was more so kind of like charming rather than like, wow, knee slapper. This is the funniest damn thing I've seen all day. It's more so like, it's more so kind of like a combination of elements that made it enjoyable and memorable.
It's the character work. I think just Jenny, XJ9, like just she's a good character. I think the people around her in her school life is very, she has a good, interesting relationship with all of them. And then just like, her mom, I think there's always a good dynamic between them, and the fact that, she goes out and fights and kicks butt. Like it has the entertainment value.
It goes
on
above
there.
ChalkZone. It goes above ChalkZone no matter what.
It goes
mainly
above
because the episodes were different. I don't remember a single episode about ChalkZone, honestly. I just remember the vibe of every episode. Teenage Robot had a bunch of different episode and just the fact that they always kind of played with the character of Jenny. And how it was very interesting how they play with the fact that she is a teenage girl, but she's also a robot. So you can play into both elements, and like, I don't know, you can lean more into one element, lean more into the other. Talk about how it's just like, I don't know, you're kind of fighting both elements. How it's like her creator, whatever her name was, the small lady, the mom. Yeah, she looks at her like a daughter, but also a robot, a creation, all that stuff.
Once Jenny discovers, her sisters, which are all the different X's, right? So like X is, like she's XJ9, right? But like, all the other ones 1 through 8, right? I thought that was a cool concept. The fact that like there's an episode like where she's able to get feelings, like she can feel things, like she can feel pain or being like, like what tickling is, stuff like that. Like she could feel that, and it like, I don't know, it's just a cool concept for like a robot to want and then deal with that.
I remember the Zit episode. So. She had like a nut on her head. Yeah, either way, put this thing above ChalkZone. I'm gonna put it. I even kind of like ChalkZone. I think it goes in A. There's nothing I dislike about ChalkZone, but I'm trying to think back to my childhood of watching these shows, and I'm like, yeah, Teenage Robot was so much more impressive. ChalkZone kind of had a fun concept and a cool art style and everything, but that's all I really had. That's all I really had.
I'm gonna hit you with one right here.
All right.
Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold. Now I know you're a bit of an Arnold fella.
Yeah. Better watch what you say here, Scott The Woz.
I got nothing bad to say about Arnold, but like it was always something that I watched. I think I saw the movie in theaters, but I was pretty young. I'm a 97 boy. The main thing I know about that movie, I don't think critics liked it at all, mainly because Hey Arnold has a much more like laid back vibe. So when people would see this movie, they were like, what is this? This is boring. And I like how the poster follows the exact same template as the Jimmy Neutron movie. It's the same thing. Just everybody all in the main characters are all in the exact same placement. Villains in the top. The main episode I remember about Hey Arnold is where they are dressed as fruits. And they're
episode 1.
But I do think I mainly consumed Hey Arnold through reruns. So it was a bit slightly before my time, but I still watched it. So I always enjoyed it. I always thought, and like the thing about Arnold was that like it had that iconicness where it's just like, I'm gonna on ChalkZone a little more. I think like I don't think many people. There's not much about ChalkZone that like everybody knows about and everybody remembers. Hey Arnold has like those little like elements of it that like everybody remembers. It's just like whatever, Helga, and just calling Arnold football head, and just like random little elements like this that like are just big, like just like whatever motifs of the show, running gags on the show. It has those iconic elements. Or even like something like Cat Dog. Like I don't even like I don't think that has as many like iconic elements that people are like, oh damn, that Cat Dog thing? I think Hey Arnold kind of just has that iconicness about it. And I always enjoyed it in reruns, but I don't have as like a huge attachment to it. But so I will lend this one to you for the rank.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna over gush about it right here. I made a 7.5 hour video about it earlier this year. I talk with the creator, I talk about my love for the show, all that stuff. So I don't want to retread all of that. I will say one of my most memorable things from it is the music in it. I think it has one of the most creative and unique and just enjoyable laid back soundtracks ever created. It's great to work to. Like it's very chill. Like I'll put that on when I'm like working deep in something. I don't want to be distracted, but I want some like background ambience, and I have it on vinyl. I love it. It's so good. It's my favorite show of all time, and I'm not just talking about cartoon. It's my favorite show. Put it above
ChalkZone, man.
No, I was thinking right next on Fabulous. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's absolutely an S for me. I love Hey Arnold. It means the world to me. And again, I don't want to repeat everything I said for 7.5 hours. There's a video for that. Since it was brought up Jimmy Neutron.
I always really loved Jimmy Neutron. I think, I know people say the CGI hasn't held up, but I think like looking back at it, that CGI is really impressive for the era. And I think even if it released nowadays, I think it would be like, doesn't look outdated. It's something that's like, I think compared to like the CGI shows you see these days for kids, like compared to like whatever, Camp Coral, like I think it still looks pretty damn good, you know? Like I think yeah. I don't know, man. I always really enjoyed Jimmy Neutron. It was one of the shows that like I do know my mom liked watching with me. They did not like Fairly Odd Parents. They thought that show was bad. They liked Jimmy Neutron though. And I just think I will say I never like fell off of the show, but you know, I definitely have more fondness towards like the first 2 seasons or so. By the 3rd season, like things were getting even more serious and stuff, and you know, that's not really why I like the show. But I respected it. I respected the direction they were taking with it. Especially considering like I remember hearing like the 4th season would be even more serious. Like the 3rd season, like every single episode was like a 30-minute episode too. It was crazy. But yeah, I thought that show was really like it's still like really funny, and but I will say I'm not sure if it's an S. I'd give it like an A, mainly because like it is not a very creative premise. There is a lot of stuff like this. I mean, you can easily make a comparison with this in like Dexter's Lab and whatnot. Yeah. But I do think I do really, really like Jimmy Neutron. I don't know where you'd put it though.
Like you said, like it really holds up with the way it looks, and I think it really holds this like middle ground of like that early CG animation very well, where it doesn't feel too much in this uncanny valley where it's hard to look at, or like some things look odd. There is the occasional like, okay, well yeah, that looks aged, but it still looks so good. The characters are great. The voice acting's fantastic. The sci-fi premises, whether they're very small or large, are all just a fun time. It's my second favorite show of all time.
Goodness.
I love Jimmy Neutron. I've had a very like a deep attachment to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry I said all those slightly negative things. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here.
No, you don't gotta appease me. You could tear this thing apart if you just didn't love it.
I mean, my 3 favorite Nicktoons were in fact the 3 biggest ones at the time, which were SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, and Jimmy Neutron. But I will say, like, I think it's weird. I think Fairly Odd Parents had a bigger impact on me, like creatively. Like I look at a lot of like Fairly Odd Parents stuff, and I'm like, yeah, this really like creatively impacted like the art style I drew as a kid, a lot of the ideas I had. And all of that, but I didn't respect it that much. I don't know, like I didn't respect it as much. Jimmy Neutron, I think, like you said, I think it was way funnier. I think it was way smarter, like in terms of like jokes and whatnot. I will say like the setup for the show, not the most creative thing. It's literally just he's a boy genius. But sometimes you don't need that, all the time. That doesn't mean a show is bad at all. I think, yeah, we can throw it an S. It's like I really like Jimmy Neutron. I would just say like if I want to be critical, I think like an A. But I also will say in terms of the art style, like even like pretty much any other CGI show always has like these weird, at least like a couple weird shots where like they try to like stretch characters too far or something. Like they try to go above their restriction, like slightly above like the line. They like to cross the line slightly in terms of like what they're kind of able to do. And I don't think Jimmy Neutron ever does that. And I think that's why like everything still looks really like not really good, but still like it doesn't age that poorly. Like they knew their limitations. They knew like how far they could take things. and they worked within those limitations. And I think that's what makes it like still like really good. I think the show still looks really good for what it is, you know. So if you want to put it in S, throw it in S. I'm not gonna deny that.
All right, we'll put it on that line. It's like that S line, but it's a, you know, it's still, you could be an A either or. All right, speaking of big stuff going on, Fairly Odd Parents.
All right, so I already said my piece.
Yeah.
I watched this show all the time, but part of me kind of feels like it was because it was on all the time. They reran this show like I kind of feel like I always watch Fairly Odd Parents because it would be on before SpongeBob, but and my thing is like I still liked it. And I still like enjoyed like the new episodes, like when a big new event would happen. And I do feel like compared to SpongeBob, because Nickelodeon would like milk the hell out of a SpongeBob special or TV movie and make it up to be something it wasn't, you know, like I remember like whatever, the SpongeBob Best Day Ever, that sucked ass. That they had like this 12-hour marathon, and like they like the top 100 SpongeBob episodes or something, where it's just like you vote and then it all leads up to the best day ever. And it was a 15-minute episode that was based on a damn song that was made for the movie. And it was horrible. It was a bad episode. You know, Atlanta Square Panis, Truth or Square. Like, these kind of built up to me falling out of love with, like, the show. Not, like, just, like, not caring about the show anymore, you know, not keeping up with it. But Fairly Odd Parents, like, when they would go big, they went big. You know, I'm thinking, like, Abracatastrophe and Channel Chasers. Even, like, Wishology. Yeah. Like, they went hard on that stuff. Yeah, they went hard on like these big moments. And it had like level of continuity I respected. Like they did a lot more continuity compared to SpongeBob, which, you know, was my favorite show, but like they did not give a damn about continuity in SpongeBob, which was kind of fun because it kind of reminded me of like an old school like Looney Tunes short or something. That's like, you know, like a character could end up in hell in one short, and then the next short they're running for senator or something, you know, and it doesn't matter. But Fairly Odd Parents is very much like, a lot of its humor is very much just like random stuff, you know, kind of like Loud Equals Funny, just, hey, Cosmo is just gonna scream something or just say something stupid, and like eventually, you know, like it like I said, like, I liked the show, but I did not respect it as much as, like, other ones. And it's also, like, you have that thing where they did kind of run it into the ground after Poof came into the picture. I remember watching, like, the new episodes after, like, that happened. And there was kind of that weird feeling of, like, just kind of, like, I don't know, it felt like you were in purgatory. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with the best way to describe it, because I remember watching like the first like 5 new episodes or something after Poof was born, and like the new episodes after that just felt like this weird feeling of like, this isn't bad, but like I just feel like I'm like stuck in purgatory here. I don't know why. Or like where are we going with this? Is this really like, I don't know. Weird. But like, yeah, there's like the iconic episodes. I mean, like, I think it at least deserves A. Like, as a kid, you get to, you know, it is kind of living out that kid's fantasy of like, oh, you can make all these wishes. You have fairy godparents. Wish fulfillment. Yeah. That was really cool. The events were awesome. It had a lot of like really iconic moments, and you know, like I played like Break Into Rules as a kid, and like getting to experience a lot of those like iconic moments in a video game level. It showed like how kind of cool, like, you know, every single episode like had its own little vibe, and they would do sequel episodes sometimes, and like running gags and all of that. Like it had all the elements of like an iconic show, and it made it an iconic show. I just don't respect it as much as other Nickelodeon shows. I don't know. That's why I'd probably give it an A. But what about you?
Now it's time for me to be a little bit more negative here. I loved the Fairly Odd Parents growing up. I watched it, and I feel like I'm kind of in the same boat where I just don't respect it as much. And it really stems from I was working on a video where I was going to, go back and just watch through everything and talk about the show, right? And as I was just watching through the first season, I was like, man, this episode just isn't as good as I remembered it. Oh, this episode isn't as good as I remember it. And I just started realizing, like, I'm just not having fun watching the show. And I don't know if that's like some weird analogy for like, oh, you're a kid and you wish for all this, and you grow up and you're just a boring adult and you forget about the fun. And it's like, it just wasn't there, but I can still look back to the specials, and they were great. I love, all of them. They were iconic moments. And like there was like a finite end at one point with Channel Chasers, like it was like, hey, time moved on, and it was like a solid ending. Like if it ended there, I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But I just did not enjoy it when I rewatched it. And it just didn't capture me. Like I can go back and watch Hey Arnold, Jimmy Neutron, Drake and Josh, My Life's Teacher, even ChalkZone, and I could be like, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm feeling it. But like there was something here. Like there's still great episodes in there. I don't want to discredit all of them. But there was just a lot I was just hitting back to back, and I'm like, no, this doesn't feel the same. I'm not. It's not like I remembered it. I don't know why, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's just something that just doesn't connect with me as an adult as much. But I still really enjoyed it as a kid. I played the video games as well. I think it still deserves. I'll give it that A. It deserves that A. It was a moment.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and I think a lot of kids were similarly like inspired by it, and like, yeah. It still has a lot of like iconic jokes and moments and all of that stuff, but looking back at it now, it doesn't feel as it doesn't hold up as well as in like, oh, you can enjoy it. It's like I can see why like something like my parents weren't as tolerable of it. They were probably like, this is just kind of annoying and just kind of like whatever. Even like something like Timmy's voice can be kind of grating. Like pretty much all the main characters' voices to some extent. Like I can see how yelling. Anybody would be like, yeah, it's just like a lot of whiny or shrill voices all the time.
It did give us Chip Skylark though.
Yeah, of course. That deserves at least above ChalkZone.
Yeah, I feel A is pretty fair. It kind of has a relation with ChalkZone because of the year 2008, because that's when Poof came into the picture. Poof came around in 2008.
Yeah, big. Do you remember the
777 marathon?
Why were you gonna say? why were we thinking the same thing? That's where they
teased.
The 77 secrets.
77, that's at the end.
Yeah, the 77 secrets of Fairly Odd Parents.
It teases at the end that there's a baby on the way, potentially, is what it leads to. And then several months later, not specifically 7 months later, which was weird, but Poof came around right at the start of 2008.
I didn't get that as a kid, and I just thought like the final secret was BS. Like they just showed a couple clips. That's what they did. They just showed like Cosmo in his pants and like whatever, like a crowd going aw, and I was just like, thanks.
That's the biggest secret.
I waited for that.
I think because you and I have already gotten together 2 times before this, and we have said a lot about this show. I think we just unanimously can both agree, because of the nature even of its name, that you can't spell SpongeBob without the S's.
I thought you were going to say B. I think it's at least above ChalkZone. See, talk about a show. Even as a kid, I didn't really respect Fairly Odd Parents as much. SpongeBob, I always respected, like, to hell and back. This was my favorite show as a kid. And, like, the thing is, like, anybody will say, like, the first 3 seasons are, like, some of the best, like, written and anything.
Endlessly quotable.
Like,
still
content.
Quoted today, referenced today. Everyone gets the reference. Everyone was there.
The characters, like, it's all, and like you can sense that they were having so much fun writing and making that show. As a kid, I could tell something immediately changed with like season 4. And I know there are some season 4 defenders out there. I'm not one of them. I think season 4 is a little stinky. I don't like season 4 that much. And then season 5 is just even worse. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
there was a rough area.
Yeah, and and even then, like I've seen like some clips and stuff from like modern episodes, and I respect it more now. Like I can see like they're I can tell like they're just trying to make the most out of the show at this point. You know, just make a really well animated and goofy cartoon, but it's not the same. It's not the same at all, and but I respect what they're trying to do with it these days. But the first 3 seasons are like some of the best like animated content really ever. And I think it's just so smart, and it's so just enjoyable. There's just something so special about that I think it deserves S. But to be fair, SpongeBob has been bad for longer than it's been good, but it's when it's been good, it's kind of like The Simpsons in that way, like that good era was so iconic and so important.
Still beats
that
it out.
it really negates the bad. I mean, it deserves yes. Where did you put on Fabulous? Did you put on Fabulous in S?
No, and Fabulous is in C.
All right, I just want to make sure.
How do you feel about the Rugrats?
The Rugrats. I went through a bit of a Rugrats phase when I was a youngin.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to the Dollar General, and they would have a bunch of Rugrats VHS tapes.
Oh, the classics.
The dollar store. Yeah, so I picked up a bunch of those back then. I had the Decade in Diapers, volumes 1 and 2.
Classics.
Yeah, Rugrats is another one where it's like a lot of iconic things in that show. A lot of iconic episodes, episode after episode of like, man, you remember this, and like it had such a character to it. It had such a unique vibe to it. Do you remember the preschool spin-off show?
Preschool Days, yes.
Yeah. I remember seeing like that randomly. That was weird.
Not great.
Yeah. All Grown Up is a very cool concept for a spin-off, and I remember enjoying that a bit. But Rugrats has always kind of been there, like even past its prime, like Rugrats was always there. And I always enjoyed it. It was always like a very entertaining show that just kind of gave you like a nice feeling of just like, this is just enjoyable. This is just enjoyable. Again, it wasn't like laugh out loud funny, like SpongeBob or anything.
This show it's one of the first 3 Nicktoons, right? This, Doug, and Ren and Stimpy. So, it's a classic. It went on for so long. It's done so much. It had so many cool ideas, and it never felt that it like ran out of gas. It just kept doing things, and it was always fun. And I don't think it's the greatest, but I do think there's so many things about it that are iconic. And if you're talking about a show I respect the heck out of, I respect the heck out of the Rugrats.
Similar to Fairly Odd Parents, I think they did a good job with events, whether that's like the original All Grown Up special that wasn't like the show.
The backdoor pilot.
Yeah. You have I remember the vacation episode was a lot of fun. Even like the holiday episodes, like I remember the Valentine's Day episode, and the movies. Go Wild was a little weird, but like the original Rugrats movie, Rugrats in Paris, like those were like it's crazy looking at like I remember as a kid watching Rugrats in Paris, the giant Reptar robot going through was like such like burned into my brain. It's like such a fun climax. And that just like as a kid that just always inspired me very creatively. Like I remember I would think about like what kind of cartoons would I make, or what kind of show would I make, or something. I'd always kind of like rip off ideas in my head. Like I would walk around outside on like my Razor scooter or something, and I would like talk to myself, coming up with like ideas or something where I'm like, oh, my TV show would do this, and like at the end it would be a giant like robot battle, like it would be like a Rugrats in Paris, you know, it would be really cool.
Wouldn't it be cool if we just
it's just like
put some robots in there and they fought?
Yeah, at the very end, it just like there's a lot of stuff that just kind of feels like, this is made for like a kid's imagination to just run wild and just be like, this is awesome. I'd give Rugrats like an A.
Yeah.
Kind of. I feel like it sort of ran out of steam near the end. Because I mean, it went on for like over a decade.
Yeah, it went on for a while. It overlapped with its spin-off show. You know, like All Grown Up became its own thing, and then All Grown Up ran for like 5 seasons on its own. How do you feel about All Grown Up? Because technically it is a separate show.
Yeah, I mean, I put it probably a tier below Rugrats. I still respect the hell out of it. It's such a cool idea where it's like you take like this show about babies and then you make a show about them like whatever, however
they're
many
not
years
all
later.
Grown up.
You know, it's like
they're
not all
like
grown up.
10.
They're preteens, teenagers, but not as iconic as Rugrats, not by a long shot, but still respectable.
One of the absolute best theme songs, though.
It requires Rugrats to be cool, you know. And I think that definitely brings it a tier below, because even with Rugrats, like the concept there is the fact that like, hey, you know, let's follow babies, and like that's at least like, you know, that's more interesting than like, here's a bunch of kids and that's all it is. But for what it is, yeah, I think it deserves a B. If you give me iCarly, I'm gonna give that like a B or a C or something, man. I got problems with that dumbass show.
You got something to say about iCarly? All right,
I liked it a lot as a kid. I loved that show. Rewatching it, god damn, it's horrible. It's a bad show. It sucks. It's got a couple fun jokes, but like 20 episodes in, they ran out of steam. They had nothing. They had no interesting things to do with it. They ran that show into the ground after the first season, man. I'd honestly give it a C in the grand scheme of things. Victorious gets a D. Victorious gets a D. Yeah, Victorious is bad.
Yeah.
That show is bad. God damn. I watched it for a bit back in the day, like
a particular reason, like just is it just the whole thing encompassed?
It was on, and it was just like the next like whatever like show in the, you know, Drake and Josh, iCarly, and Victorious. And it's just they get progressively worse, man. It's just like, God, that show. Like I tried watching like the pilot episode on Netflix like a while back, and like, it's bad. It's a bad show. I think it's bad. Okay. Can I speed run a couple here?
Attacking the Power of Juju.
Oh, like that's D, F, whatever.
I just wanted you to say that one. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Ned's Declassified gets S+. That show is incredible. It is so good.
Ned's Declassified.
That show is
great.
So impressive. It is impressive in every single way, because it's just like, I don't know, like you combine so much with that show. Not only is it like an amazing concept for a show, not only does it hold up well, like in terms of like jokes, in terms of writing, in terms of plots, characters, all of that stuff. They go for like the cartoony live action style, but they do it so well. Like they do it so well. The timing, the pace, everything. The kid actors in this are so good. And the fact that like when you watch the podcast, they're still like, yeah, they were all treated really well, and they were like, this is an amazing memory of mine. Like it just makes the show like that much better. They just see like everybody was having a good time. And like you could tell like the adults on the show were like knew how to like act around kids, and they were like really, really like they loved what they were doing. They weren't like cynical about it. It was just like you just see all this love in the show. You see like all this like amazing, like it's so good, and it's really unfortunate that like it didn't get as much love as like something like Drake and Josh or like iCarly, which I still enjoyed, but like I can look back at Ned's Declassified and I'm like, this is so special. This is so good.
No,
I love Ned's.
I made a big video earlier this year about Ned's Declassified. And yeah, no, it's great. I think, Devin's pitch that he was, working hard on to try and get, Ned's Declassified adult survival guide and have it do the iCarly thing where it grows up with the audience and brings in, this group who still kind of like are trying to get their life together in like their mid-20s, like early 30s, like, things are, life isn't as grand as an adult, and it's like, hey, we can talk about these relatable things in that same style, which I think could work pretty well. I think that would have been pretty cool. But the podcast, there's a lot of interesting stuff. They've brought on so many like characters, the actors who played like these cool side characters in that show on the podcast, and see what they're doing now in life, and their experiences and everything. And I think it's fantastic. Ned's Declassified definitely deserves S. I love that show. I think it is very imaginative. It feels like everything is so purposely done, but it feels like this shoestring cheap budget in such a fun way. Yeah. And it feels like it's like
Jimmy Neutron, where they do know the limitations of like what they have, so it never feels like cheap. It feels very endearing, everything about it, but it's never like it's so good. I love that show to death. And I got into it, like, I think the first episode that I remember watching was like, I think it was like the episode about like popularity. So that was like in like season 3. So like I got into it like at near the tail end, but it was so good. Like rewatching it, like I've rewatched it a couple times over the past like few years, and I'm just always so enamored with like how good everything about that show is. Like they nailed everything. It is so interesting. Now, the technical sequel show or the spiritual successor, Big Time Rush, that's like a B. Maybe like it's okay. It's fine.
I never got into Big Time Rush. I think at that point I was like, I'm kind of out, but it did have a lot of that Ned magic in there. Like there's a lot of sound effects and cues and like shenanigans that feel Ned-esque. So yeah,
it's not as enjoyable as an adult because it's a boy band show. That's all it really is at the end of the day. And it's not as special, it's not as creative. It's very much like, let's take the energy behind Ned's and let's put it behind a something meant to combat like Disney Channel, like Jonas Brothers, like the Jonas Show or something, like that's what it feels like. So it's kind of taking like a very done to death concept and putting like the creator of Ned's Declassified behind it.
Cat Dog. I like Cat Dog. I think Cat Dog is fun. There's some really iconic episodes.
I just gave the rating.
Yeah, that's a B. Dog. Yeah, you know what? I think B's fine. I might even put it in A, but I think B's fine. Just there's so many creative episodes that I love from the show, and I just like the concept. It's weird. I like the world that they live in, and just nothing really makes a lot of sense sometimes. And I like the greasers. They're a fun time. Winslow, I just he's just like, hey, what's going on? I'm just gonna go back inside. I'm done with this.
Back at the Barnyard, I'm giving a C.
Giving Back at the Barnyard a C.
That's unfabulous right there. That is
the
right
C list is Unfabulous, iCarly, then Back at the Barnyard.
I'd rather, you know what? I think I respect Back at the Barnyard as much as iCarly. I'll say it.
There's a charm to it, man. I don't know. It's a weird show. There's a charm.
It's weird as hell. There's so much about it. Like as a kid, I don't like I knew it was weird, but then if you see anything about it as an adult, it's pretty wild. Yeah. There's some interesting stuff in that show. I'd give it a C. Like, I don't respect it at all. But, I mean it. I don't respect it at all. And the movie is even worse. So, I'm like, wow. The movie isn't great at all. Like,
he's really just putting it out
it's
there.
Like, the movie is just like a total, like they wanted it to be heartfelt or some garbage. And I'm like, it don't work. It don't work for me. So Sam Elliott, dad cow. No, I'd give the Mighty B a C as well. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, they're trying to bank on like the talent behind it. Like you have some workers behind SpongeBob doing it and Amy Poehler.
Yeah, didn't you hear? It's Amy Poehler's cartoon show.
Yeah,
that's all it was advertised as.
Yeah, and like for what it was fine. Like it was okay, but like it just yeah.
Who's it advertising Amy Poehler to? Like if they're advertising to kid, who's the kid watching SNL? No, like who's Amy Poehler to a kid? Like Nickelodeon was like, yo, we got Amy Poehler cartoon. Am I right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
A Planet Sheen F. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. And I only saw the first episode, and like it came at a weird time. It came like whatever, like 3 years after Jimmy Neutron ended. Jimmy Neutron was probably not even reran at that time. Like they probably even stopped rerunning it on Nickelodeon, and like it's just bad. Like that is a show that doesn't, animation wise, that is a show that doesn't know its limitations at all, and that show looks like dog. Yeah, so F. Fanboy and Chum Chum, that's like D.
I wanted you to specifically talk about your personal Fanboy Chum Chum life experiences.
Okay, so like when Fanboy and Chum Chum was coming out, that was when I started just dicking around online in terms of like just going on Wikipedia and stuff and just checking out like behind the scenes on things I liked. Mm-hmm. And I saw like I saw the Frederator Studios blog that was talking about like this upcoming show they were working on, Fanboy and Chum Chum. So I like saw all this like behind the scenes material and like storyboards of the intro and stuff and like all this stuff they were working on with the show. So I was like kind of invested in the show. I was like, this is cool as hell. I'm seeing all this behind the scenes material of this like upcoming Nickelodeon show. And it came out and it wasn't very good. But I tried to kind of convince myself that it was kind of good. And I was like, oh, this is like kind of like a modern day Looney Tunes. Like it's so wacky and crazy. I watched like 5 episodes before I gave up. But you know, like it's I was about to say I respect it. But Mr. Meaty is a D? Nah, that's a C.
That show horrifies me.
I respect Mr. Meaty because you know, it's puppets.
I respect that artistry. That it terrifies me to watch that show. It makes me so uncomfortable. There's something about it. It's just so uncomfortable. I don't know if it's a puppet thing or if it's just the ugliness on purpose thing that they do. I don't know. It just, if that show made me feel weird. But yeah, I'll give it a C for creativity.
True Jackson VP, I'd give a B.
I like True Jackson VP.
Yeah, I like True Jackson. That was a good old show.
LT Gray.
LT Gray, I'd give a B.
Yeah,
I like LT Gray.
I like LT Gray. That was a cool
show.
Too.
That is a cool. It had a great art style and had a great energy. I love the energy behind LT Gray, and it's a creative show. I just give it a B mainly because like, you know, I just feel like it just got started. You know, it ended way too soon, and I don't remember like a super ton about it, so like that's probably why it's like a B.
What are your thoughts on the combination of iCarly and Victorious, Sam and Cat?
Oh god, that one sucks ass.
What you got cooking up? What you got coming up next?
Yeah, what I got cooking up next is ranking Bella and the Bulldogs. I saw this show on Netflix. This show, I give it a C.
I've never watched it.
There's a character called Ace McFumbles in the show, and he's this kid with a fake mustache. And he's just always like reporting on stuff, man. It's great. Bella is a part of the Bulldogs, the football team. And the season finale is they find a law that says girls can't play football, and they have to fix it. And it's like it's a real stinger of a season finale. It's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? It's pretty crazy. I give it a C.
This Double Fringemas is brought to you by Gamer Subs.
And why don't you hit that link down below and go over to Gamer Subs, pick yourself out something nice, use code Fringe, get 10% off. Thanks again for jumping on here and doing this, having fun. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone out there watching this. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. And with that being said, that's another Fringemas, a double Fringemas this year. And now I'm going to take a long hiatus. Don't call me.